The doors have opened. Our dignitaries are entering the premises, and I request you all, as soon as they enter, please give a huge round of applause. Our Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministries of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, and Vice President CSIR, Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji has arrived amongst us to grace this occasion. Accompanied with him is Professor V. Ram Gopal Rao. We also have Dr. Narahari Sastry, Director CSIR NEAST and Chairman Jigyasa Task Force, and Dr. Geeta Vani Raisam, Head CSIR HRDG. Accompanying them, we have Professor Venu Gopala Chanta, Director CSIR NPL. I request our dignitaries to kindly come up on the dais. Let us keep up the energy and applaud our esteemed dignitaries. Kindly be seated. Every great event starts with a small idea, a spark of creativity, and a commitment to make it happen. It is indeed a beautiful day as we commence today the inaugural of one of the most remarkable events in the annals of history of CSIR NPL. I, Dr. Sharon Jyotika Paul, on behalf of the entire CSIR NPL fraternity, extend a warm welcome to one and all on this auspicious occasion of 1 week, 1 lab campaign. It is, as we say, first of its kind event where the CSIR labs are provided this opportunity to showcase their diverse legacy, exclusive innovations, and technological breakthroughs to the common people of India. In the league of this unique campaign called 1 Week, 1 Lab, CSIR NPL is organizing the program from 17th to 21st of April with the aim to create awareness about the available technology and services present in NPL among potential stakeholders, to provide solution to societal problems, to sensitize the masses about importance of precise measurements, and to develop the scientific temperament among masses, especially among students who are the future of the country. Today, we will also witness the pivotal event, the launch of CSIR HRDG CSIR student-centric initiatives, CSIR YUVA portal, Jigyasa Mobile App, Astro Lab for Divyangjan. These initiatives will strengthen the academic and personal growth of students and also empower them to take ownership of their education and become leaders in their fields. To grace this occasion, we have our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. We are honored to witness the advent of this commendable program. I extend a warm welcome to them and the distinguished guests, our revered scientists, our dear teachers, media partners, and of course, our lovely students and research scholars. Before we begin today's program, we would like to welcome our esteemed dignitaries with a token of delight and request. I request our dear students to kindly welcome Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji for being a significant part of this historic event. Ms. Lalita, please come forward to welcome our Honorable Minister. Your presence here today is a testament to the significance of this occasion, and we are so grateful to have you to grace it. Thank you so much. We extend a hearty welcome to respected Professor V. Ram Gopal Rao Ji with a token of gratitude. I request Mr. Ankur to kindly come up. We are honored and humbled by your presence today. Thank you so much. We welcome Dr. Narahari Sastry on this auspicious occasion. I request Ms. Ria to kindly come forward. Thank you, sir, for your benevolent contribution to this event. We also extend a warm welcome to Dr. Geeta Vani Raisam. I request the Chinmay to kindly come forward. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing this occasion. We are honored to have such dynamic personalities amongst us. I now humbly request our Director, CSIR NPL, Professor Venugopala Chanta, to kindly accord a ceremonial welcome to our venerated guest and this august gathering.
Thank you. Yes. Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Professor Ram Gopal Rao, Dr. Narar Shastri, and Dr. Geeta Vani, and all my distinguished colleagues from headquarters, fellow directors. I see the new PME head, also RAB director also here. Sorry, I'm still. So, and my ex-colleagues, former scientists from NPL, my present colleagues from NPL, students who came from many of the schools across Delhi NCR. So to make this occasion a special one. So I would like to welcome you all on behalf of NPL family and CSR family to this dual event. One is, as we know, is a 1 week, 1 lab event, inauguration of it. So this is the brainchild of our Honorable Minister. So that this idea is each of the CSIR labs does a lot of work, and each of them specializes in very unique and specific areas. So his idea is, why not take this message, what we do in each of the CSIR labs to the general public, so that they are aware of what is the work going on, and also take this opportunity to interact with the stakeholders, for example, industry partners or other partners, which I'll be mentioning shortly. So each lab has their own unique ways which we interact with the society. So this is an opportunity where we take 1 week and completely dedicate it to send the word and bridge the gaps whichever are there with our stakeholders. So that was the idea behind this 1 week, 1 lab, and it's going well with many of our sister laboratories conducting these activities across the country. Right. So to come up to this stage, we have support of our media partners, without whom we wouldn't have reached many of you. So I would like to thank, on behalf of CSR family, our heartfelt gratitude for the coverage which you are giving to this event. Right. So before starting the event, so I thought I'll just briefly say what NPL is. I had given this in the morning session, a little introduction about NPL. So when we talk about NPL, like, so we all talk about, I mean, in the context of Big Bang theory, right, for the universe, how universe is formed. So there was a Big Bang, and then the universe slowly evolved over time. So for NPL, many of people, how NPL is recognized is with the time, the Indian standard time. So there are these 6 beeps which used to come on one of our event partners, All India Radio here today. So they used to have these 6 beeps. 6 beeps are of 0.1 second each. So the 6 beeps corresponds to 1 second, 100 millisecond each beep. So that's how the time used to be disseminated across the country way back in 1959. So this was started 4th February 1959, and this was the first time in Southeast Asian countries, the first country to disseminate time. And this evolved. In 1974, we got our first atomic clocks. Then in 1979 onwards, we started using the satellite technology to disseminate time with much higher precision. And this is just one activity which is well known to people. There is a lot more which goes on just in the area of metrology. Even for this time dissemination, there are ongoing projects. We plan for the future, how we can better the accuracy of time which we give and different ways so that India becomes self-reliant from safety security point of view. Okay. So this is one thing. The second area which NPL is well known is for advanced materials. For example, one of the offshoots is the Central Electronics Laboratory, which was established in 1974. Sorry. So it's an offshoot of NPL. So then I also briefly mentioned about this TV, black and white as well as color TV phosphors which were made, crystal growth and XRD equipment which was made at NPL way back in 60s, 70s and 80s. There are superconducting magnets which were made. There is materials for aerospace, semiconductors for solar cells, and currently we are working on futuristic quantum materials and quantum sensors and their applications. The third area is environmental sciences. So the NPL team participated in almost every single Antarctica expeditions. We set up the SODAR there, designing and developing spectrometers for observing the Antarctica environmental conditions. We do pollution monitoring. What we are doing currently includes, for example, across the Delhi NCR region, what are the domestic fuel consumptions, different types of fuels which are used, and what are the pollutants, what are the emissions which come out of it, so that this can be used for policy making. So we also model the pollution, how it transmits across the lower Himalayan regions. So this is ongoing work, so we keep on extending these things to meet the current demands and future demands of the country. The fourth activity which we are very passionate about is skill development. This is interaction with schools, various schools. We have these open days. Last Thursday of every month is a open day. Anybody can come in with prior registration or even walk-ins are possible. We organize this PG diploma course in PMQC, which we call this precision measurement and quality control. So this is again a very successful course. So we have about 180 schools across Delhi NCR region whom we collaborate with. We actively involve ourselves with the various ministries and stakeholders, including Bureau of Indian Standards, Quality Council of India, Legal Metrology, and industry covering various aspects. We talk to defense labs, we collaborate with them, ISRO, the space organization. So we do have active collaborations to take our work or identify the problems which need to be solved to wherever extent like we have the internal expertise with. So this 1 week program under the guidance of our Honorable Minister is to showcase NPL and to connect with all stakeholders. So I welcome you all to this 1 week program, which will be inaugurated by our Honorable Minister now. And we also have our event, HRDG event, inauguration of student-centric initiatives of CSIR HRDG. And we'll look forward to having you all during this event and the next 5 days. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for doing the honors and for precisely highlighting the role of NPL in providing measurement standards to the country and the innovations that NPL is developing with the futuristic perspective. Thank you, sir. Our beloved Dr. N. Kalaiselvi, Director General CSIR and Secretary DSIR, who was supposed to be here to grace this occasion as a guest of honor, couldn't make it today because of some health constraints. She is truly an indescribable asset and strong pillar to NPL, and we hope and our sincere prayers for her speedy recovery. I now request Professor V. Ram Gopal Rao to kindly come up and enlighten the gathering with a few words.
Good afternoon, all of you. Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister for Science and Technology and Vice President CSIR, and Professor Venugopal Achanta and other directors present here on the dais, off the dais, students, scientists and everyone. Very happy to be here. This is indeed a very great event. 1 week, one lab. I understand Honorable Minister himself thought about this initiative. And CSIR is a very large system, and it's very often for outsiders to know the magnitude of this entire operations and the number of laboratories and nature of activities. I think it's good to focus every week on one lab and showcase it to the other society kind of stakeholders. And I'm sure this will bring in a lot of visibility to the activities that are happening in the CSIR system. I have always said that the problem with our institutions is they have become too homogeneous. It's always about professors talking to professors, scientists talking to scientists. I think that is hampering our innovation capabilities. Ideas happen. The idea factory kind of an approach is when unlike minds come together. Unlike minds, unlike in terms of attitudes, unlike in terms of disciplines, unlike in terms of cultures. I think that is what we need to do. I think we need to connect with stakeholders, and we need to bring these unlike minds together, make them interact with each other, develop ideas. And once you have an idea, and of course you can pursue that as a research, you can generate further more ideas, use startups, use industries to translate that research. I think that has to be the path forward. And from these homogeneous kind of cultures, connecting with different stakeholders need to become our mainstay in all these academic institutions. Now, I wish all the best for this event. Today is the first day, and I have already given my talk. So I'm very happy to see the response, and I'm very happy to interact with all of you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for your words of encouragement and appreciation towards this event. Jigyasa program, a scientist-student connect program, has come a long way since its establishment. It is one of the important outreach activities of CSIR targeting school children. Now, I humbly request Dr. Narahari Sastry, Director, CSIR NEAST, and Chairman Jigyasa Task Force to deliver the vision and future roadmap of Jigyasa.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. Honorable Minister for State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, and also Vice President of our Council, Professor Ramgopal Rao, Professor Venugopal, Professor Ranjana Srivastava, and our JS and many other dignitaries who are there. It's a pleasure for us to be here to see a simple idea that our Honorable Minister has floated on 26th September 2022 to become a reality. When scientists discover things and make a difference, many times scientists themselves will forget, and most of the time when it does not reach the society, the full-fledged use of that is not very well spread. Awareness is very important. So this 1 week, 1 lab program, which is a very, very good success. I have participated in 2-3 labs, and we had our own laboratory doing this. Many times we bring awareness to others, and we also bring internal awareness. What are our internal strengths, and what are the problems that we have done, what we have to do, what we can do. In all these directions, this particular 1 week of Manthan, while we have an intention to bring awareness, it will also bring the new opportunities that we can think about. And today my role is to talk about the Jigyasa program, the Scientist-Student Connect. Again, this is an idea which came from the very top, and it started in 2017, although these programs were there for 40 years in some laboratories. But in 2017, with the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sanghatan, this has taken a firm shape, and from 2017 till now, more than 1,500 programs were conducted, and close to 5 lakh students around and 5,000 teachers have been participating in this particular program. And we have several projects which have come in this way. As one of the very interesting thing is this Indian Sign Language, where people who have some challenges will also focus on their strengths. And today, on this occasion, we are going to launch the CSIR YUVA portal, the Jigyasa Mobile App, as well as the Astro app for the Divyangjan. So, we are now trying to look at what are the ways in which we can engage the young children in doing science. As Dr. Amrugopal Rao has mentioned about, we are being more too homogeneous or too monotonic. If you want to have a disruptive ideas and in our thinking, we have to catch people at the right age. And according to most people, people will have their mind at its best between 17 years to 20 years or 15 years to 20 years. And at that particular point of time, if you engage with them, the interaction from scientists and students, probably the learning process are both ways. I strongly feel that whenever I interact with young students, we also learn quite a bit things. And then people who have some challenging issues like our Divyangan, they also have lots of things for us to teach, provided we are willing to learn. And we are also having several programs in this Jigyasa initiative. Like, one of the advantages that CSIR has is it has its presence in the length and breadth of the country, 37 labs distributed, and we have a legacy of more than 80 years. And we wanted to use this to convert the knowledge that is there in all the 14, 15 vernacular languages. This particular idea is going on, and we have signed MOU with the Royal Society of Chemistry and Chief Development Office of the Bulandshahr and Karnataka Science and Technology Academy, and we are also very soon going to sign MOUs with the S&T councils with the different states, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Telangana, Assam, many other places we are talking, so that the knowledge that was created will be distributed in different vernacular languages. And also, we have this Jigyasa virtual lab platform with more than 170 contents with the help of the IIT Bombay. This has emerged as one of the most important aspect of our Jigyasa program, and we are very sure that COVID has taught us many things, that if we want to really access to the quality material, education material, these virtual labs are playing a very important role, and IIT Bombay and many CSIR laboratories are involved in creating the course content, and this course content will be available in different languages. And we are also having the mobile bus in collaboration with the NSCM, and this mobile vans will go to different places in the villages, and then we will try to see that CSIR work along with the different education institutes. And we all feel that in the last few years, we are learning to work cutting across the different line ministries and working very closely with the other education institutes, and this will be very helpful. Jigyasa Labs are also actively working on AI-based tools and software to monitor and map the skills and competency of the school children. This is actually one of the points that was raised by the Honorable Prime Minister during our society meeting, and we are taking it very seriously, and then we are working towards that. And another thing is, the Niti Aayog has created the Atal Tinkering Labs. There are about 219 Atal Tinkering Labs, and many of the CSIR institutes are adopting them, and they are working very closely. For example, in Jorhat, we have about 20 Atal Tinkering Labs, and we go to each of those schools and then try to handhold them and then see that how they can really become innovative and making some differences in the practical sense, because lots of structural strengthening is happening in these 295, and there is a plan to expand it further. So with this, we have every reason to be happy with very nice leadership and then camaraderie that is there across the CSIR to work in the Jigyasa program. And definitely, if you are able to work and excite some of the children, when we are able to catch them young and provide a good atmosphere, definitely country will progress in a good fashion. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the importance of creating awareness. We believe that this initiative of Jigyasa program will surely empower our young children to make a revolutionary difference in the world. Right behind me is a volunteer who is miming for the Divyangjan students. CSIR HRDG has been contributing significantly to the development and nurturing of science and technology manpower of the country through its fellowship programs. One such program is the Direct Senior Research Fellowship and Research Associateship under Extramural Research Scheme. CSIR HRDG, under the leadership of Dr. Geeta Vani Rayasam, head CSIR HRDG, has been steering the Extramural Research Fellowships and also the Jigyasa program as well. 3 major game-changing initiatives have been developed. Now, I humbly request Dr. Geeta Vani Rayasam to share the overview of CSIR HRDG's student-centric initiatives, CSIR YUVA portal, Jigyasa Mobile App, Astro Lab for Divyangjan students.
Good afternoon, everyone. And firstly, Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Dr. Venugopal, Dr. Ram Gopal Rao, Dr. Shastri, and all the dignitaries of the dais, and all colleagues of NPL and students, and all Jigyasa nodals who have joined online. I think it's a great, I'm very happy here to be on behalf of HRDG to talk about the initiatives which will be launched by the Honorable Minister in just few minutes. And firstly, I think hearty congratulations to NPL on the 1 week, 1 lab program. And I really we piggybacked on NPL for this event. And so my sincere thanks to Dr. Achanta Venugopal. So actually, as we just heard, CSIR is not only known for its technologies, which is what CSIR's mandate is, but we are also known for nurturing human resources. In fact, it's in the mandate of CSIR. The founders of CSIR in 1942 talked about that CSIR should play a very vital role in nurturing the human resources. And when we talk of Amrit Kal, it is these students who will be there in 25 years. We may not be there, but they are the future scientists of the country. And I think it's very important we engage with them, either through the Jigyasa program or the 1 week, 1 lab program. And I'm very happy to see a large number of students. And as you know, Human Resource Development Group is the only one which caters to the extramural or non-CSIR phase of entire CSIR activities. So today I'll just take you through the 3 initiatives what Honorable Minister is going to launch. So first is the CSIR YUVA portal. Actually, the YUVA is for Yuva Vaigyanik Anveshan portal. So this is for the direct SRF. As most of you know, CSIR has this national level competitive exam called CSIR UGC NET, based on which the students are given fellowship to carry out research in various labs across the country. But what about those people who don't clear the exam, for example? Are they not good scientists or good researchers? So there are many who work in projects in various labs and do excellent work and also come up with publications. So this direct SRF scheme is for those students who actually go on to do research and come up with publications, and to give them incentive to go to the next level of fellowship, which is a senior research fellowship. So this platform is actually for those research scholars. And we all talk about brain drain, and more after PhD, most students go abroad, as you know, for postdoctoral research. But there are also schemes within the country, and Research Associate is a fellowship for those students who want to, or those PhD scholars who want to continue research. And so this is a Research Associate scheme, which is also monitored by CSIR HRDG for the entire country. And I'm very happy that we'll be launching this portal shortly, and the advertisement, which has been on hold because of COVID and other reasons, will be released today, and the portal will be open at midnight, 12 o'clock, and anybody from the country can apply for this fellowship. And So why this portal? And as I said, earlier it used to be done in an offline mode, and because of COVID, offline mode was very difficult, and I think in line with the Government of India's initiatives and towards digitization, it's high time we move on. And so in partnership with CSIR YUVA, we have developed this portal, and this is going to reduce the resources and time and manpower, a lot of time and no extra screening, and usually we get 8,000 to 10,000 applications, and this is going to really cut down a lot of time. So this is one such new initiative at HRDG. Now, Dr. Shastri really highlighted about the Jigyasa, and we are very fortunate that our Honorable Minister has been very encouraging for this Jigyasa, and as I can show here, in fact, our first virtual lab was launched by the Honorable Minister himself in 22nd November 2021, and we also signed an MOU with National Council of Science Museums in presence of two ministers, Shri Kishan Reddy ji and Dr. Jitendra Singh. And now, as a follow-up of this, we are having a museum being set up in Hyderabad, and a science museum, and we also have this mobile science lab, which is a partnership between CSIR and National Council of Science Museum, which will go across Telangana and talk about genetic diseases, which is an initiative of CSIR CCMB. And sir, you may also be happy to know that the virtual lab which you launched, now the content has increased in this, so the work is ongoing, and Dr. Shastri mentioned our idea is to diversify this into multiple languages, which is we hope to be in the next 1 year or so in at least 5 to 6 languages, because India is a vast country and reaching each and every corner is important. And as a part of the diversification, to include the Divyanjan students today who are here, as you can see, some of them, much of the content, some of it has also been translated into Indian Sign Language, because innovation can come from anywhere. When you talk of SDGs or G20, we are all talking of inclusion. And I think this is a first step towards that. And Honorable Minister also announced the Jigyasa Vigyan Mahotsav winners as a part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which was again done through the Jigyasa Virtual Lab. So, Dr. Shastri mentioned, we are also working with the Royal Society of Chemistry, and within NPL, last year we did this event. More than 2,000 students across the country took part in the coin battery experiment. The same experiment was done where Dr. Kalai Selvi was also there. So these are the initiatives. And coming today, so now today we have developed this Jigyasa Mobile App. Although we have portal for the ease of connecting, like just now Dr. Venugopal mentioned, even I was not aware that 300 schools are connecting with NPL, being CSIR. So how do people come to know about the programs? Now when you have all these students, everybody wants to know. So I think this app is a great platform for them to connect to the students. And we have 37 CSIR labs. So this will be a one-stop solution for the student to connect and know what programs are there. Can they visit a lab? Can they schedule meeting a scientist? So we hope that this will really take us far. And this is again in partnership with IIT Bombay, who has been a great partner for our virtual lab. And the first of its kind in the country, we have set up an astronomy lab in Karnal, which happens to be the birthplace of the astronaut Kalpana Chawla. And so this is the first Indian Sign Language enabled Astro Lab. Again, this is an initiative of two motivated individuals. Astro Lab has been set up by Aryan Mishra, a young student who has gone on to set up these Astro Labs in the country. And I have visited myself in Bulandshahr. Bulandshahr has more than 200 Astro Labs, and they have a district astronomy policy, which is really a great thing. And so this in Karnal is enabled with Indian Sign Language videos and audios, so that these Divyanjan students can actually take benefit of this and also develop scientific temper. This will also be inaugurated by the Honorable Minister, and this is in partnership with CSIR IMTech. So, and this would not have been possible without the guidance of leadership of Honorable Minister, DG CSIR, and our three great partners, URIDIP, IIT Bombay, IMTech, and many other organizations. And special thanks to CSIR NPL for hosting us today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing us with this overview. We truly acknowledge your hard work, determination, and perseverance for student-centric initiatives. After the clear overview, the time has come to witness the significant milestone of the launch of student-centric initiatives. I humbly request our Honorable Minister to kindly launch CSIR HRDG's student-centric initiatives. The first in the launch of CSIR button is pressed and the portal has been dedicated to the nation. The CSIR YUVA, an online application portal, is developed to ease out application process and make the system more transparent and efficient. The second initiative to be launched is the CSIR Jigyasa Mobile App. I humbly request Honorable Minister to launch the mobile app for the students. The third initiative is the virtual launch of Indian Sign Language enabled astronomy lab for Divyangjan students in Karnal. I humbly request Honorable Minister to virtually launch the Astro lab and dedicate it to the upliftment of the Divyangjan students.
More than 6 million deaf people in India use ISL. However, STEM subjects are not accessible for them. We welcome you to the ISL-enabled Astro Lab. Deaf children, like hearing children, gaze up at the night sky with wonder. The Astro Lab features over hundreds of videos with a focus on astronomy, but also physics, chemistry, biology, biopics and fun fact posters. This project is a joint initiative of CSIR Intech Chandigarh and HWS PSHI. We hope that you all learn and enjoy the wonders of science and astronomy.
I once again thank our Honorable Minister for doing the honors and dedicating these student-centric initiatives for the nation. We truly believe that these student-centric initiatives will promote the students and ultimately work for the upliftment of the society. I am highly honored to invite the visionary behind this 1 week, 1 lab campaign, who has played a vital role in shaping, encouraging, and promoting CSIR labs incredibly. I humbly request Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Honorable Minister of State, Ministries of Science and Technology, and Earth Sciences, and Vice President CSIR to kindly come up and share the pearls of wisdom with us.
On the dais, Dr. Shastri, Professor Venugopal, Professor Ram Gopal, Dr. Venugopal, our host, Dr. Geeta, seated before me, directors of different CSIR institutions, senior members of the faculty, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. This is a historic venue where we have gathered this morning. This is a place which has seen history being made not once but more than once. And I'm glad today we are making another historic landmark. Beginning from early 1940s, this is one of the first CSIR labs to have been set up in this country. The first one being in Jammu by Sir Ramnath Chopra, and this one, I think, around the time of independence. And also, if you may recall, if you have forgotten, you may bring back to your memory, this is one of those CSIR labs which was personally visited during the inauguration by the then first Vice President of CSIR, none other than Dr. Sama Prasad Mukherjee. Because he was the Vice President only for about 2 years before he put in his papers. But that also is a part of history, and we do have photographs in the corridor. Also, this is something which Dr. Venugopal would have told you, but I am performing his task on his behalf. This is also the laboratory which has evolved with the evolution of independent India. So the journey of NPL coincides with the journey of independent India since 1947. And that too in more ways than once. As he told you, the old timers would recall, whenever you heard the 8 o'clock bulletin in the morning, that was the only thing available at the 9 o'clock. That beep which he was referring to is one which emanated from this place. The atomic timing with which all of us used to match our watches, much before the electronic means came in. So in other words, the journey of NPL also coincides with the journey of Akashvani, which was the name adopted after independence. Thirdly, I think the electoral history of India is deeply indebted to this. If you didn't have this lab, maybe I wouldn't have been there. The reason being that right from the very first election that we have in this country in 1952, it was this lab which was providing that ink and saving many of us from bogus voting or helping others to indulge in the same. So you can understand how deeply embedded is this institution with the history of independence, the journey of post-independent India, the evolution of Akashvani and the news methodologies in this country, as well as the growth of electoral mechanism over the last 7 decades. And therefore, now why I'm saying all this is that this is precisely which prompted me to think of this. Not now, because incidentally I didn't have the mandate then, but about many years back, about 15 years back or about 10 years back, I was sitting with some of the friends from the tourism department. I said, what all about is that is done by you? He said, we promote tourism. We guide the foreigners to places where they ought to go. I said, now, because I am a Khurafati researcher like many of us, so I said, can you just tell me some of those places? Then he looked back at me with certain amount of disdain and contempt, as if I was trying to be over smart. So I said, do you permit me to tell? He said, okay, go ahead. I said, anybody coming to Delhi will spare 2 hours, 3 hours to go to Agra to get a photograph on the Diana bench, which I need not tell, you need not tell. right from the day he begins his journey from the United States, he has to make a visit to Taj Mahal, seated himself, along with spouse or maybe anyone else on that bench. No, I just mean that. Not more than that, because the youngsters are having a laugh. And get a photograph. Then when the same tourist or the group of tourists arrives in Delhi, you don't have to tell him to visit Red Fort. That he knows. Because so imposing is that red stone monument. Then you don't also have to often tell him about Jantar Mantar, because there's so many stories hanging after that, that the earlier times, this is how the time was detected when there were no other means, etc., etc. Then maybe a foreigner will also like to visit Qutub Minar, particularly if he happens to be France, a French tourist, just to make sure that it is not taller than the Eiffel Tower. So I said, then what else is what you guide for, and so much of resource, because I was luckily not part of the government that time, so I could, you have all these liberties. I said the active role or a contribution of any tourist guide or a tourist department or tourist agency is to acquaint people with the monuments of modern India. One of which is this, and I actually quoted this as an example. And they looked back quite blankly about what I was talking about. I think many of those friends were not even aware of what NPL meant or what it spelled out. So I told them we have National Physical Laboratory over here. We have some of the institutes which have already, we have, for example, the IIPA's, Indian Institute of Public Administration, which was born just after 4 years after independence in 1950-51, one of the earliest institutes of administration. Of course, the other institutes came a little later, but just within the 5 years, we had some of the initiating monuments, which actually became a model for the other monuments to be brought up. And therefore, soon after this, government came in 2014, because I didn't have any access to them, nor the mandate to suggest them, because that was not part of my portfolio, but I had the Department of Atomic Energy. So I told the friends there that there are only 2 departments in Government of India, which incidentally do not have their headquarters in the national capital. And for legacy reasons, nobody asked, not even in Crorepati, is this ever question asked. I think this is a question which should fetch 1 crore. If the national capital of India is Delhi, why not headquarter of atomic energy in Delhi? If the national capital of India is Delhi, why not headquarter of Space Department in Delhi? Many of us think this is irrelevant talk. And that's because the eyes see what the mind knows. And you have to, if you have seen and the mind knows, then you can share with others. We had to set up the Department of Atomic Energy because the entire setup was done by Homi Bhabha in Bombay. And he started off just before independence actually. He had just come on a holiday and the World War started. He had to go back, he was on a leave. He could not, because all the transport was suspended. Most of the transport those days happened through ship, the sea route. It got suspended for 3-4 years as long as and the World War lasted till 1944. So he couldn't go back. Meanwhile, he started all this. And then soon after the independence happened. And that gave a boost and supplementation to whatever he was doing. So by legacy, it got headquartered there. Similarly, Sarabhai was attending a conference in Trivandrum. Suddenly he passed away in the middle of night. There was chaos the next morning. Nobody knew who would take over the Department of Space. ISRO had just been set up. So the only other person they could think of is the other person who had actually started the journey along with him was Professor Satish Dhawan. But Professor Satish Dhawan was so deeply rooted and settled in Bangalore that he could not left it. He had thesis projects, he had students, because he was into full-time work. He did not know that he would have to take work. So the department had to be set up in Bangalore. So what I did was that we set up in Pragati Maidan a hall of nuclear power. I'm saying so because I'm sure in this room nobody would have visited that. That has existed there for the last about 10 years, soon after this government came in. Sometimes we encourage the students to go there. It's beautiful, it's worth seeing. I mean, they have just personified how the nuclear energy develops, how the ultraviolet rays comes, how does it emanate, and there is also computerized question answer section there. So we set up a pavilion there. I suggested to Department of Space, we could be setting up the same there also. So thereafter, when I came to this department, I thought we could actually celebrate not only what we have done, but also make others aware for the reason that they are the stakeholders. After all, what are we working for? So this 1 week, 1 lab is actually meant to serve more than one purposes. A, to have your own esteem. Because if you are left isolated, you tend to lose your own esteem. You don't even like to shave in the morning. Recently, Hopkins started a project, appearance project for scientists. So that when you get up in the morning, make sure that you appear good. Otherwise, many of them would think that nobody is going to visit my lab, nobody is going to come here. How much difference does it make whether I go there bathed, unbathed, odorful or odorless? And actually, they started a project. But why do we have to come to that pass? So A, it gives us esteem. B, our stakeholders. As you were saying, Geeta was also saying, the students, the stakeholders, the industry, they don't know. And being students of science, we've been taught to speak not without evidence. And I can quote you so many examples out of the 37 labs. These labs or institutes are not even introduced to the similar institutes in their own vicinity of 4-kilometer radius. I think the simplest example is that we were sitting in IIM Jammu, and as Professor Ram Gopal and Dr. Venugopal also said, each of these, I think Venugopal was saying, each of these labs is dedicated to a separate specialty or separate stream of work, which itself is a uniqueness. In this era of specialization, super specialization, now we are moving into sub-super specialization. You know, even in medicine, like the other days, Sadhguruji of Bangalore was telling me he had gone to Australia, he hurt his knee, so he told the hotel management, I need a doctor. He says, after 10 minutes, I received a call. They asked me, what is wrong with your knee? I narrated the story. Then they further started asking me. The lady kept on questioning me. He says, I got fed up and I told her, ma'am, in any case, the doctor is going to come. So why are you putting me to all this? She said, no, I have to determine what kind of orthopedic surgeon do you need. We have a separate orthopedic surgeon for trauma, a separate one for arthritis, separate one for nodular disease. So he says, I got so irritated. I said, now will you ask me which knee, left or right? But there is so much of knowledge explosion happening, and the doubling time, as we say in science, doubling time is the time when our textbook requires a fresh edition. It's also narrowing down. The volume of knowledge is increasing, the volume of information. And we, luckily, our founding fathers had this vision to set up each of these institutes dedicated to a separate stream, which again we are not being able to publicize enough. And the working in isolation, I was referring to the example of IIM, I was sitting there and Dr. Reddy was telling me that we have an ambitious project because that lab is dedicated to drugs. It's the oldest drug research laboratory in India. So he said we are working on an ambitious project of multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. And I got him a project for cannabis before I was a minister here, through my own efforts, because that was part of my diabetes profession. We had a lot of diabetic painful neuropathies. So we got a project of cannabis cultivation. We had to get approvals from the government and a French collaboration. So he said there are two. Incidentally, it occurred to me that just 3 kilometers away was a postgraduate medical institute, a government postgraduate medical institute. And I said, have you got in touch with her? He said, no, we are not known to each other. So I sat there, made it a point to call the dean from there, who happened to be a lady. She was kind enough because we were calling at a short notice. So I said, no, because I may not get an opportunity like this. So she took over an hour to come, so I kept sitting. Then I suggested, I said, why can't we have a thesis? You have postgraduate students. Now for this drug resist, which is being the trials going on tuberculosis, can't you have a thesis in pharmacology? You have MD pharmacology. UGC guidelines say that the main guide has to be from the parent institution. The co-guide can be other. So I said, you have your professor as the guide. Let one of our senior scientists here be the co-guide, so that your boys, our boys, have an exposure to also move among the patients on whom they are actually going to ultimately use the drug. And I was told recently, I asked, and they were told that they have now actually planned that. Or similarly, even in medicine department, we have postgraduate students, we have thesis, we have post-scholars there. So that is the magic, the advantage of integration. Similarly, in the Nagpur lab also, we hardly integrate even with those institutes which are doing a like-minded work. Whereas the need of the hour is to have an extended integration even with the industry. Like, for example, you have some of the best labs, or one or two, we have the National Chemical Laboratory in Pune. At the same time, we have a huge pharma industry in Pune, so also in Ahmedabad. I was talking of the multi-drug resistance incidentally, whereas the medical institute is 3 kilometers away, about 10 kilometers away is the Sun Pharma factory. So if you are actually going to now, through this YUVA portal, the idea is to connect, to identify the potential young boys and girls who could be startups, who could carry forward the torch. But how would you sustain them unless you engage the industry? And therefore, I think the idea is that every week, I'm glad that it has taken off quite well. It was being quite appreciably discussed the other day, even when I was in Hyderabad, because that laboratory also was observing that time. And there was some confusion in the beginning. We started receiving calls. Whom to call governor, to call vice president, to call chief minister, or to call which minister? So I had to tell them, no, we have to call ourselves. We are celebrating ourselves. We are celebrating our work. We are trying to realize the worth of our work, the reach of our work, and all those who are connected to our work, so that we can give extended life to our work. And therefore, these boys and girls are the ministers, the governors, and the chief ministers. So the initial two programs, it took us time, because they thought maybe another Sarkari program has been launched, as usually the ministers do. But the problem with me is that I go as chief guest, come back delivering a keynote address. Well, that is what I did for more than a quarter of a century. So this is the idea, is that when we propagate ourselves, and we do so not only through these programs, we use social media, which is the most common, we at least make people aware of what is happening here, so that they would come here not for us, but for their own reasons. The huge startup boom in this country, we are now number 3 ecosystem. And to sustain the startups, you need aptitude. So how to identify? Very often we are providing support to those who reach us. They know where is the office of the Technology Development Board. They know where is the office of BIRAC. They have nothing else to do for the next 6 months. They take up a project. But are we reaching out to the one? So that is, I think, one huge challenge. So portal like this can enable us to reach out to those, A, who has aptitude. Then to sustain, B, you have to connect him or her with an attractive source of livelihood. Because after all, that boy or girl they are the children of the same society. So he cannot tolerate for long his counterpart moving in a car and he carrying launcher on the carrier of his bicycle, which Zarabai did in those days, but won't happen now. So B is that. And third is to connect him with the industry. We could even do the industry mapping and I'm glad that Dr. Venugopal was talking about the skill part of it, and of course, essentially startup is skill, innovation, creativity. And most of all, we are going to launch another program very shortly. I have some ideas in mind to do a follow-up of these startups. I mean, it sounds a little unpleasant, also a little rude. Because अब मुझे support दिया तो you are going to follow me up? Yes. We have a count of startups. We don't have the count of who actually ended up as startups. How many of, and that could be an education for us. So in the next meeting that we have a combined scientific departments meeting that we have started the process only this year. I have requested a presentation. We have certain models. One of the models emanated from America, where they actually make phone calls to the startups or reach out for them physically every year to see what they are doing. So if we are able to do that, we would not only be able to improve upon ourselves, but also able to. And third, I think what we have started today, the first ever lab in Karnal, is a huge, huge message that we are providing a level playing field. And that is directly connected with aptitude. Aptitude may not be correlative. You cannot correlate it with your physical attributes. A person who is physically challenged or physically blessed may be having greater aptitude. Like Wordsworth says, there is a man who walks through the world with eyes open and the other one who walks with the eyes closed. But both are blessed with the eyes. They are not Divyangs. So we will give preference to aptitudes, to the caliber, to the capacity, to the inherent urge, rather to the physical attributes. That's also the message which is gone loud and clear from the platform of CSIR today. I once again congratulate you. I think this YUVA portal will help us to connect, to identify the potential student startups, young startups, and also very soon when we develop a mechanism to follow them up, we'll be able to do them house handling, home handling, or hand holding even in midway, because I've seen many of the women startups dropping out for reasons of wedding. But if one of us comes to know, you could at least come to their rescue and find an option. We had a scientist in Bhopal lab, she dropped out because she got married to an IAS officer. So I don't know which is better, an IAS or scientist, that is for you to decide. But nevertheless, so we will not we may contribute in preventing such casualties happening. These are casualties happening to the scientific fraternity if we are able to follow up. And this is one step towards that. The YUVA portal and the level playing field to pick up the aptitudes is our Karnal initiative. So all the very best, and I'm sure this is going to, at the end of the day, benefit each one of us who have a stake in this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your golden words. It is an honor and delight for us to hear you speak. We are fortunate to have you as the anchor and shield of CSIR. Thank you, sir. This time, I would like to request our Director NPL to kindly felicitate Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji by presenting him a shawl as a token of gratitude. Muskan and Priyanka, I request you to kindly bring it. Our heartfelt thanks to you, Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, for being the fountainhead of illuminating ideas and for your dedicated pursuit to public service. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors. As we have come to the end of the program, I would like to call upon Dr. Ritu Srivastav, convener of One Day, One Week program, Senior Principal Scientist NPL, to propose a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. On behalf of Organizing Committee of CSR NPL, 1 Week, 1 Lab campaign, and on my own behalf, first of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology and the Vice President of CSIR for kindly consenting to inaugurate this event. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for gracing the event and for your motivational speech. It will guide us to meet the expectation of the government policies. I would like to thank our DG ma'am for her constant support. Due to some health issue, she is not able to join us today. Our sincere thanks to today's keynote speaker, Professor Ram Gopal Rao, Group Vice Chancellor, Birla Institute of Technology and Science, for sharing his innovative research ideas. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver a keynote lecture. I would like to thank Dr. N. Shastri, Director NEAST and Chairman Jigyasa Task Force for delivering the vision and future roadmap of Jigyasa. I would like to thank the head CSR HRDG, Dr. Geeta Bani Raisam ma'am, for giving an overview of the CSR HRDG student-centric initiative. I would also like to express my gratitude to all the distinguished invited guests, dignitaries from CSIR headquarters and other lab and institute, our former director and retired scientist and media person for attending this event. I want to extend my generous thanks to Director CSR NPL, Professor Venugopal Achanta, for his guidance, constant support and encouragement. I would also like to thank all HODs, my support service departments, my NPL colleagues and ACSR students for their active participation. I am thankful to all the participants, students and teachers from different schools and Divyang students for attending this event. On behalf of HRDG, I would like to thank all the people who are involved in the development of the CSIR YUVA portal, the Jigyasa Mobile App and Astro Lab. I am thankful to our organizing team for their hard work to make this event successful. As this list is very long, it is difficult to name each and every one. Once again, thanks to all the people who helped either directly or indirectly to make this event successful. Thank you all.
Our dear Divyangjan students would also like to present a memento as a token of gratitude to our Honorable Minister. I invite them on the stage. All the mementos that they are offering are handmade. Can we have a huge round of applause? A huge round of applause for our Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji for being the fountainhead of such illuminating ideas and for his dedicated pursuit for the public service. We are humbled and honored for your benevolent contribution. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated on your respective seats. On the demand of our media partners, there is a special photograph of our esteemed dignitaries. Thank you so much. I request our esteemed dignitaries to kindly be seated on the dais. Thus, the entire team of Jigyasa Thank you so much. I request our esteemed dignitaries to kindly be seated on the dais. Now, as the curtains draw to a close, we have come to the end of today's program. But as we embark the journey of 1 week together, we have a series of events lined up for you all, so please stay connected. So as we conclude, let us all rise up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone. Our guests can proceed for the lunch towards the food court. And our venerated guests are requested to proceed towards the VIP lounge.